broadcast proudly brought to you by Castle Lager.
After an agonizing 6-week wait, the Donaldson Cross Country Championship is back, and we found ourselves a new yet familiar home. All roads lead to Vryburg, the principal town of the Dr. Ruth Mompati district, also known as the Beef Pantry of Africa, for good reason. The town is synonymous with farming and mining, but this weekend, it's all about cross-country racing. It may have taken a while, 23 years to be exact. The last cross-country championship race to take place here in Vryburg was back in 1990. Now we're back in the heart of the Northwest cattle country for this, the 6th leg of the Donaldson Cross Country Championship. Castrol Toyota's Anthony Taylor and Dennis Murphy lead the championship, but they'll be challenged by Ford Racing's Chris Fiss and Yampie Bardmus, with Chris originally from here.
It's his home event, so the pressure's there, but I mean, I'm not going to let it get to me. I can, at the end of the day, I can only do as best as that I can. And I've got a good machine under me, and I don't foresee any problems. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good event.
So could we say you've got hometown advantage?
Yeah, I think a little bit, but not that much. Yeah, I don't know. I know more or less where the route is going, but yeah, I think it's going to be for all the people. Yeah, it's going to be the same.
Taylor and Murphy amazingly are searching for their 4th win on the trot. They're 10 points clear of Fister and Badenhorst, while the other Castrol Toyota pair of Duncan Voss and Rob Howie are lying in 3rd spot, 37.5 points off the pace.
I was in the hot seat last time out, but Regent Racing decided to give the honour to an actual sportsman for Vryburg, cricketing legend Jonty Rhodes taking up the celeb challenge again. Jonty, your 2nd innings in the cross-country championship.
Well, hoping to get a little bit better in the 2nd innings. I mean, I was always in Test cricket. Not that I had a great cricket career on the sort of the white clothing. I was certainly better on the 2nd innings. So I'm hoping that yes, the 1st innings wasn't much to write home about, but hoping to be able to have an enjoyable weekend this time.
And we're off. The men to watch certainly lived up to their reputation. Championship leaders Taylor and Murphy not putting a foot wrong in qualifying. Despite being a very tough route navigation-wise, the pair set the fastest time on day 1.
43 minutes and 44 seconds to be exact, and doing so at an average speed of 81.34 k's per hour. That's flying.
44 seconds behind them in 2nd place, defending champions and teammates Voss and Howie. An impressive effort considering that they battled to find the route at times.
Malcolm Cock's dad, Andre, is hosting this event, so it was only fair that Junior Cock and his co-driver Johan Berger shone, and they did, 3rd on the start line for them.
Another Toyota Hilux, this time belonging to Hicho de Brain and Henry Hicho, 4th fastest despite breaking a steering arm and suffering a flat tyre.
The first Ford Racing Ford in qualifying, and it's not Visser and Badenhorst, but Lance Woolrich and Ward Huxtable. They too described the route as being extremely tricky to navigate, and instead took a cautious approach to avoid any punctures or other mishaps. It definitely paid off.
6th in SP, the Atlas Copco Nissan Navara of Gary Berthold and Sigrid Rousseau. The pair lost more than a minute after getting lost. Rousseau said it was a navigational nightmare.
Another duo that experienced a few wrong slots was the team of Yanni Visser and Joks LaRue. Their Toyota Hilux came home 7th in class on day 1.
Finally, the Ford Racing Ranger of Visser and Badenhorst. A very poor return for them in qualifying. Visser said it was by far the worst navigational day they've ever experienced. The Dakar-bound pair left with plenty of work to do.
Speaking of Dakar, the man who conquered the South American terrain on a quad, Sorrel van Bouillon, finished 9th in class alongside Philip Hasselman in their Atlas Copco Toyota Hilux.
Rounding off the top 10, the celebrity team of Archie Rutherford and John T. Rhodes. Bragging rights for Rutherford as he was fastest in the Regent Racing stable. Derek, what is it really like inside?
Well, let's take a look. It's incredibly fast, and as a navvy, if you lose your way, you're as good as gone. John T. did a brilliant job, especially given that this was such a tricky route.
Another sad day for Christian de Plooy and Henk Janse van Vieren in the RFS Motorsport BMW X3. They clipped a rock halfway through and suffered a bent prop shaft, a DNF for them, but they will take part in the mass start on day 2. It really has been the story of their season.
Fastest in Class D, the giant father and son pairing of Jack and Sarel Oosthuizen, bringing their LMC Land Rover Defender home in 52 minutes and 48 seconds.
As for Class E, the extremely talented pair of Dirk Putter and Koos Claessens were quickest, setting a time of 53 minutes and 34 seconds in their Ford Ranger.
So no real surprises as the Castrol Toyota duo of Taylor and Murphy topped the timesheets in their Hilux, finishing a good distance clear of teammates Voss and Howie, while locals Malcolm Koch and Johan Berger from Koch & Sons Toyota will start in 3rd place.
While Taylor and Murphy have quite a strong lead in the production vehicle category, just 12 points separate the top 3 teams in the specials, with the elegant fuel pair of Hartmann and Richard Silvald leading the way.
You are at the top and there's 3 races to go.
Yeah, as a start, one needs to keep a cool head and not make mistakes now. Don't throw it away now. It's important to finish first of all, and then, if possible, as high up as possible. You know, I think that's the aim. But we must finish every race from now on.
Finish they did, but it certainly wasn't easy. The father and son team had an excellent run until the last 5Ks. They broke their right steering arm and also lost brakes. They still managed to limp home with the fastest time. But straight after the flying finish, they hit a tree.
Well, it wasn't quite as disastrous for their elegant fuel teammates Quinton and Cully Silvald. The 2 men were second quickest, passing the stranded pair of Gibson and Campbell from Dirtsport Components along the way.
In 3rd place, Philip de Vries and Johan Viljoen in their Conqueror Porter, the pair setting a time of 45 minutes and 28 seconds, while also getting lost along route.
Well, that picture tells it all, why you don't want to be stuck behind anyone in this dust. Luckily for Marius and Jolanda Fourie, they're creating the trail. 4th in class for them in their PHB Bat Spec 4. They admitted afterwards that they didn't do too badly, and I definitely agree.
In 5th spot, the Maxis Liqui Molly Rockstar team of Neil Mayer and Joseph Lewis, another pair that couldn't seem to find their way. Although looking at the results, it didn't appear to do too much damage to their time.
Nardus and Louis Alberts expected the route to be well defined by the time they got out. It didn't go according to plan, however, and like many others, they got lost. They also suffered a malfunctioning radiator pump, but despite it all, they finished 6th fastest.
Championship challengers Evan Hutchison and Donnie Stassen in the Motorite Bat Viper described the navigational side of things as the toughest in history, and the pair struggled to find their way. A 47-minute and 11-second ride puts them 7th in class.
Kutsia and Sandra Labuskaghni enjoyed a great run in their Chem Systems Arco Light and were fastest in Class P, finishing in a time of 51 minutes and 7 seconds, much to their surprise.
So the special vehicle qualifying timesheet dominated by the name Silvald. The family from Elegant Fuel were quickest on the day, with Hammond and Vickard finishing 17 seconds ahead of Quinton and Cully. De Vries and Viljoen round off the top 3 in their Conqueror Porter, 28 seconds off the pace. With qualifying done, it's back to the DSP for more work. The route proved to be anything but easy and many vehicles suffered as a result. It will be a long night for many, with teams burning the midnight oil as every effort is made to get their cars back into peak condition.
Sunrises don't come much better than in the northwest, and not only does it welcome in a new day, but it welcomes back the Donaldson cross-country racing competitors. It's been a long time since this part of the world has seen such exciting racing, and it's definitely been worth the wait. Sitting in pole position in the respective classes, Taylor and Murphy and the Silvalds.
If someone catches me and they want to pass me, well then so be it, you know. I'm not racing them, I'm racing Chris, and you know, but at the same time, we want to win, of course, and that's our nature, and so going forward, that's what we're going to be doing.
Plan to slow down a bit today. There's no sense in trying to chase the buckies in front of us. I race Evan and Clint, and they're behind, and I must just finish ahead of them. So the plan is stay out of the dust, stay out of trouble, stay in the car.
So Taylor and Murphy out first on the overall start list, followed by Voss and Howie, with Koch and Berger in 3rd place. Hammond and Vickard Silvalt may be the best placed of the specials, but they're 6th on the grid, so to speak.
Loop 1 is underway with Taylor and Murphy setting the pace. It's almost unbelievable to think how well they've done this season.
They may have had a relatively slow start to the championship, but that's only because of the standards they set from the 3rd race. 3 wins in a row and number 4 a distinct possibility, given how well they've been performing.
In contrast, their Castrol Toyota teammates Foss and Howie have struggled to reach the heights they achieved in 2012, but they have been consistent throughout the championship. They're yet to win a race this season, but they've often found themselves on the podium.
The route may have proven difficult for many, but these are 2 very experienced campaigners, and of course have 2 Dakar rallies under their belts.
Lying in 3rd at the moment, having gained 2 places, the men who finished first in the opening race of the season in Talton, Lance Woolridge and Ward Huxtable from Ford Racing. They too have failed to build on that brilliant start, and they look to be having some trouble here. A fork in the road gives them reason to pause. They opt for the right road.
Bad news for the teams of Hammond and Vickard Silvalt and Malcolm Koch and Johan Berger. Both the respective vehicles have been sidelined, meaning that we have a new leader in the specials.
And here are the new leaders, the other Silvalts, Quinton and Cully from Elegant Fuel. Their Bat Venom looking good on this terrain.
Hiku De Bruyn and Henry Hiku have dropped a place to 4th spot, the puncture having slowed down their progress.
Second in the specials, having made up 2 places after starting from 4th, Marius and Yolinda Fourie. Good moving from the husband and wife team in their Bat Spec 4.
As Koch and Berger try to get their Toyota Hilux back out on the road, it's allowed Visser and Badenhorst to make up another place. They're lying 5th.
In 3rd place amongst the specials, Nardis and Louis Alberts in their Bat Spec 2.
In 6th place, Gary Berthold and Siegfried Rousseau in their Atlas Copco Nissan Navara. They look to have put the qualifying troubles behind them.
They've certainly made up some ground, having overtaken Visser and Badenhorst just seconds earlier, the Ford Racing pair having been stranded.
And here we have the Ford Racing pair. This is the last thing they needed. They went to challenge for the championship. Apparently they're sorting out the protector cover on the back diff.
In 4th place amongst the specials, Evan Hutchison and Dani Stassen from Motor Right.
Another Atlas Copco vehicle, this time a Toyota Hilux belonging to Van Biljon and Hasselman. They're 7th.
On board now with our celeb team, Archie Rutherford and John T. Rhodes in the Imperial Automotive Navara. The duo are in 9th place, looking to make up a spot, and they have a perfect opportunity to do so. Malcolm Koch and Johan Berger are back on the road, but they're not giving the Region Racing pair an inch. A definite scream coming from the Navara, but they've got a lot of dust to get through.
Plenty of action for the spectators to enjoy. They may be teammates, but I can guarantee you Michael Whitehouse and Matthew Carlson want to finish in front of Rutherford and Rhodes. They're in 10th.
Or are they? The pair gaining quickly on their teammates. They looked to have overtaken them, but it was not to be. Rhodes and Rutherford managing to hold their lead over Whitehouse and Carlson, but only just.
Brilliant footage from the racing cam as we catch all the action and the excitement from Donaldson Cross Country Racing. Just behind them in 11th position, Lo De Bruyn and Rian Quayling from Rubicon Racing in their Ford Ranger.
De Vries and Viljoen dropped 2 places in their Conqueror Porter and are lying 5th amongst the special vehicles.
Maintaining their lead in Class P, Kutsia and Sandra Labuskakny. Not far behind them though, Yanni Visser and Yorks LaRue in their Toyota Hilux.
On board with Johan van Staden and Mike Lawrenson, they look to be having a terrible time of things, and that's certainly the case. The pair hitting a massive rock, and while they've done brilliantly not to roll, it looks as if their race is most definitely over.
7th in class, Peter Ruthven and Hansi Reder from Rubicon Racing. Hansi taking part in his first ever race.
Luke Buerter and Kevin Durston from Force Fuel made the switch to SP a few races back, but have found the going tough, none more so than now. Rolling their car, they're out.
Let's get this over.
Luke's certainly not happy. Let's hope the same fate doesn't befall the Horn brothers, Johan and Vanna from Melalan Toyota. They're currently first in Class D.
And first in Class C, Dirk Pitter and Chris Claessens in their Ford Ranger.
So after the first 80 Ks, Taylor and Murphy maintained their stranglehold on the lead ahead of their Castrol Toyota teammates Voss and Howie. Still no sign of Visser and Badenhorst in the top 7. In the specials, Herman and Vickert Silvalt being out, the other Elegant Fuel Silvalts, Quinton and Cully, lead the way.
Back out front with our leaders, Taylor was adamant that his main aim was to finish ahead of his main rivals, namely Visser and Badenhorst.
They have a good lead over their Castrol Toyota teammates Voss and Howie, currently in second, the same position they finished in at Sun City.
And more heartbreak for Woolridge and Huxtable. It's not been a good day for Ford Racing. The pair have come to a stop with what looks to be a serious concern.
I can't see them getting back out onto the road. The leading special, Quinton and Cully Silvalt from Elegant Fuel. Quinton looking for his maiden win as a driver in the Donaldson Cross Country Championship.
Up to third place now, Hicho de Bruin and Henry Hicho, taking advantage of the problems suffered by Woolridge and Huxtable.
Still keeping hold of second place in the specials, Marius and Yolinda Fourie.
Approaching a compulsory stop, Nardis and Louis Alberts currently third. For the uninitiated, cars must come to a standstill for 2 seconds before taking off again. Failure to do so, and you'll get heavily penalised.
They adhered to the rules absolutely perfectly. In fourth place, Gary Berthold and Siegfried Rousseau from Atlas Copco. This helicopter footage gives one a clear understanding as to how difficult it must be to navigate. Nothing but shrubs and sand with very little route to speak of. It's certainly proving to be very tricky for all the vehicles concerned. I must admit, I'm glad that Jonty was tasked with co-driving his way through Vryburg, and I got Sun City.
I bet you were. The cars driving around there like headless chickens, but luckily they seem to have found their way. In fifth place, Malcolm Koch and Johan Berger having overcome their earlier problems.
Recovering well, and a good move by Koch and Berger as they sneak past Hutchison and Stassen in the motorized bat. Well, we did hear from Hutchison a little earlier as to how tricky this route was. I spoke to him after qualifying and he couldn't believe how tough it was. Of course, the competitors have never been to Vryburg before, and this was a rude awakening. Not far behind them, the Atlas Copco Hilux of Van Biljon and Hasselman. They opted for a very different route to get to their destination.
It looks as if Whitehouse and Carlson finally got ahead of their Regent Racing teammates Rutherford and Rhodes. They're in 7th place.
Speaking of the celebrity pair, let's join them once more. I know Archie well, and he'd have been furious to have lost his spot to the other two. And he's dropped another position. This time it's Visser and Badenhorst from Ford Racing doing the damage. The pair have a lot of catching up to do.
They certainly do, but hometown hero Visser is definitely not incapable of pulling off the impossible. Remember, they're headed for Dakar next year, and with very good reason.
Holding on to 10th place, the Rubicon Racing pair of Louw de Bruin and Rian Huiling in their Ford Ranger.
Lying 11th, the Transcool father and son pair of Graham and Trevor Leith in their Ford Ranger.
Back to the specials, the Zeelies, Daniel and Lowe, currently lying 5th in the Maxis Liquid Molly Rockstar Porter.
Just behind them in 6th place, Peter Ruthven and Hansi Rearder in their Rubicon Racing Bat Spec 4.
Championship contenders Clint Gibson and Gary Campbell from Dirt Sports Components may not have had the greatest of qualifying races, but they're currently lying in 7th.
The leading vehicle in Class P, John Thompson and Maurice Matten in their Zarco Magnum. John struggling though, having spent last night in hospital with food poisoning.
Matthews with stand-in navigator Julian Hardy have made up enormous ground, having started from the back of the field after mechanical problems. They're second in Class P. Loop 1 done and dusted, the first through the gates, no surprise. Anthony Taylor and Dennis Murphy, soon followed by Castrol Toyota teammates Duncan Voss and Rob Howie. This looks like it could very well be another Toyota 1-2 and another win for Taylor and Murphy.
Their big rivals Chris Visser and Jaapie Badenhorst have made up plenty of ground in their Ford Racing Ranger. They're lying 7th.
Are you guys feeling more positive now at halfway mark?
Yeah, I must say, I'm very positive. Yeah, we still got a long way and there's a lot of rocks out there. It's quite tricky some places it's nice. But yeah, very, very nice route. Enjoyed it.
So with one loop to go, Taylor and Murphy have a 56-second lead over Foss and Howie, while De Bruyn and Hicho are almost 4 minutes off the pace. Van Biljon and Hasselman experienced troubles towards the end of the first loop and have dropped out of the top 10.
In the specials, Herman and Wichert Silvalt may be out, but that hasn't stopped them from helping their teammates Quinton and Cully, who currently lead the way.
Yeah, it's going very well for us. We didn't have to get out, and there's a lot of lurkers out there that we luckily missed. Quinton was driving like a champion. I'm very happy that we're doing very well. It's going okay there. We don't have a lot of dust, and sand is a little bit of a problem, so it gives you a little bit higher temperatures than normally. We're happy. Everything is going smooth. We just don't have to get out now, then we're home.
All smiles from Cully, not so from Evan Hutchison from Motorite.
It's over.
Over.
We're done now. We're broken the car.
Oh man, what happened?
We've got a crack in the chassis. We're just busy having a look. We're just busy having a look at it now, but I think it's over. We didn't know. We weren't aware of it. But yeah, we're done.
So no more racing for Hutchison and Stassen, but the Silvalts well in control of proceedings, over 2 minutes ahead of Marius and Jolinda Fourie, while Nardus and Louis Alberts are third. Thompson and Zermatten are 8th overall, but first in Class P.
One more loop to go and Taylor and Murphy are looking stronger by the kilometre, although the Castrol-toted pair admitted that the wind was picking up, which would make the final loop a lot easier for the squad behind them.
Taylor finding big air there, and behind them Foss and Howie. They said it's a good route, but it takes a lot of hard work.
Back to the leading special, Quinton and Cully Silvalt from Elegant Fuel. They've seen a few podiums this season but never found the top spot. Could this be their day?
The gentlemen of the championship, the ever-consistent Hicho De Bruyn and Henry Hicho, lying third in their Toyota Hilux.
The second special, and it certainly has been a special drive so far from Marius and Jolinda Fourie in their PHP Fastback 4.
They experienced a puncture towards the end of the first loop, but that hasn't done too much damage to their time. In 4th place, Berthold and Rousseau in the Atlas Copco Nissan Navara. They are well and truly back in the race, Kockenberger lying 5th despite their earlier flat.
Talking about being back in it, Visser and Bardnos from Ford Racing having taken advantage of their rivals' car problems, they've climbed to 6th place.
So after 240 kilometres, Taylor and Murphy hold on to their overall lead ahead of Foss and Howie, while Quinton and Cully Silvalt are the leading specials, but are also doing tremendously well as they're third amongst everyone.
Taylor and Murphy continue to lead from the front, and it would take a very brave person to bet against them.
Well, the same can be said of the Silvalts. Barring catastrophe, victory looks almost certain.
Looking for their second consecutive second-place finish, last year's championship winners, Foss and Howie, in their Castrol Toyota Hilux.
It looks as if Marius and Jolinda Fourie's race may be over, meaning that Nardus and Louis Alberts have climbed to second spot, the veteran driver reveling in the hot, flat and dusty conditions.
Visser and Bardnos from Ford Racing have almost unbelievably made their way up to third, undoubtedly the drive of the day, considering they started the morning 8th amongst the production vehicles.
The Ford's progress means that Hicho De Bruyn and Henry Hicho in the Micron Toyota Hilux have dropped down to 4th place.
A superb drive from Whitehouse and Carlson has seen them move up to 5th in their Regent Racing Nissan Navara.
Lying in 6th place, Gary Berthold and Siegfried Rousseau, another Navara, this time from Atlas Copco, a number of flats destroying their chances of a podium finish.
In 7th place, Lo De Bruyn and Rian Krailing from Rubicon Racing, taking the cautious approach to ensure they finish in their Ford Ranger.
Not far behind them in 8th place, Yanni Visser and Joks Leroux in the RFS Toyota Hilux, showing their worth. And hot on their heels, and in 9th place, the Leiths in the Transcorp Ford Ranger, Graham and Trevor. They've had a great drive and haven't had to get out of their car once.
Currently third amongst the specials, Clint Gibson and Gary Campbell in the Dirt Sport Components Porter. Brilliant performance considering they started the day 38th overall.
In 4th spot, the Maxis Liqui Moly Rockstar brothers, Daniel and Lozili in their Porter. They've experienced most of this last route without brakes.
Amazingly, despite their qualifying woes, Christian de Ploy and Henk Janse van Vuren hit back brilliantly on race day, 10th in their BMW X3.
And lying 5th in the specials, Peter Ruthven and Hansi Reeder from Rubicon Racing. Great drive, especially with a rookie navigator.
Colin Matthews and Julian Hardy, who retired from qualifying with a burst water pipe, did not give up the fight. They finished 1st in Class P and 6th amongst the specials. And doing their best to overtake Gerald Leroux and Rian Guelpa and succeeding.
The leaders in Class D, no real surprises. The Horns, Johan and Werner from Malalan Toyota. Good driving despite battling in the thick sand.
Kudos to John Thompson. Despite spending plenty of time in hospital, he's desperate to remain competitive in the championship. He and Maurice Matten want that finish line. The leader in Class E, also few would have been shocked by this result, Dirk Putter and Koos Claessens in their Ford Ranger.
But right up front, the Team Castrol Toyota duo of Anthony Taylor and Dennis Murphy, making absolutely no mistake on their way to their 4th win in a row. A phenomenal achievement from the Johannesburg pair.
2 races ago, it was tied for the top of the championship. Now with 2 races to go, it's daylight now.
Yeah, look, I mean, I got a 20-point lead, I think it is, without us dropping any points. And so it's not quite a full race points ahead. But, you know, we were hoping that some of the privateers were going to get between Chris and myself as well this weekend. But I must say, Chris did a sterling job starting 14th and coming through to 3rd. It was a well-deserved 3rd. You know, if anyone has to get the man of the day, it has to be him. And but, you know, I'm enjoying the gap, and the pressure's obviously going to be on now. But fortunately, I've got a bit of a buffer, so we must just keep the flow going and not make any mistakes.
6 down, 2 left, and Taylor and Murphy finishing almost 8 minutes clear of teammates Voss and Howie, while Ford Racing's Visser and Badenhorst pulled off a spectacular race to reach the podium.
Over in the specials, a maiden victory for Quinton Silvalt as a driver. He and his dad Cully crossing the line first in their elegant fuel-backed Venom.
Quinton, you must be a very happy man. You're first.
Yeah, I know, it's a special feeling. Sitting next side on the driver's side, it's a dream come true. With my dad next to me, it's really special. So looking forward to many more.
A dream result for the Silvalts, finishing almost 5 minutes clear of another father and son pair, Nardis and Louis Alberts, while Gibson and Campbell's 3rd place finish means they go top of the overall standings. Next week on Inside Cross Country, we look at the race within the individual classes.
We travel to the Underberg for the Drag 250.
And we meet the Dakar-bound teams of Toyota and Ford. Don't miss us next week on Supersport 8.
The Donaldson Cross Country Championship, brought to you by Donaldson Filtration Systems, a market leader in filtration solutions.